He exposed the whole operation. A nominee caught dodging questions linked to the illegal firing of a federal safety official. But the real scandal, a cover-up of presidential overreach no one wants to admit. What you're about to see is how one senator peeled back the curtain and cornered them on record.
As Deputy Director in the Office of Presidential Personnel, he told me in a meeting in my office when I asked him if he would ever do anything illegal, he said no. I appreciated that. But during the hearing, he refused to answer any of my questions about the firings he carried out, saying they were subject to litigation. However, Mr. Morse's actions have a direct link to your nomination today because he wrote the email illegally firing Vice Chair Alvin Brown from the National Transportation Safety Board. Yes or no, is your nomination to the NTSB to take the vacancy left by Mr. Brown's firing?
Senator, I thank you for the question. I have an expertise flying aircraft and aviation safety. I'm eager to serve on the NTSB, but I'm not a constitutional lawyer. So your question, which I certainly understand, I will respectfully have to leave that with the courts and the legal process.
Which position would you be taking? Is there a vacant position today?
Sir, I've just been nominated to be one of the board members at the NTSB.
You don't know which position it is?
Sir, I believe it's an open position currently, but
I don't think it's a question from anyone here. It's not up to the courts. I'm surprised you won't even answer that one. But well, I'll move on. I'm not trying to play gotcha here. Just that's fact. Anyone dispute that? Hearing none. Yes or no, does the NTSB have a, quote, for cause removal criteria, which says that, quote, the president may remove a member for inefficiency, neglect of duty, or malfeasance in office? And if you need the statute, it's 49 U.S.C. section 1111C, and I can get a copy of it if you need to see it.
Yes, Senator.
Yes or no, did Mr. Brown file a lawsuit suing the Trump administration for his illegal removal from the position at NTSB?
Senator, thank you for that question. Quite frankly, I'm not aware of I hear rumors, I hear some stories in the media, but I am not aware of official lawsuits. I'm not aware of it.
Fact, Mr. Brown filed a lawsuit. I don't know if there's any dispute. Yes or no, has Mr. Brown's case been resolved?
Not that I'm aware of, Senator.
Do you believe in the judicial process?
Yes, Senator.
Last week, I joined my Democratic colleagues in a letter to the chairman urging him not to move forward with this hearing on NTSB Vice Chair Brown's replacement. As I mentioned in my opening remarks, Vice Chair Brown is actively challenging his unlawful removal in court. If the Senate moves forward to confirm the replacement and the courts then reinstate Vice Chair Brown to the NTSB, we could have 2 Senate-confirmed board members for only 1 position. My question, Captain DeLue, if the court rules in favor of Vice Chair Brown and direct him to be reinstated, will you commit to stepping aside swiftly?
Senator, that is something that I have not considered or thought about, but if that situation was to arise, I would reach out and talk to the General Counsel of the NTSB and possibly the Department of Justice.
Appreciate that. Mr. Schultz, since you currently serve on the Surface Transportation Board, I'd like to ask you a few questions. Or Ms. Schultz, I apologize. Yes or no, is the Surface Transportation Board an independent federal agency?
Sorry. Yes, Senator.
Yes or no?
Statute.
Yes or no, did Board Chair Patrick Fuchs send an email to all career staff placing political blame for the shutdown?
Chairman Fuchs sent an email indicating that there was an impending shutdown.
Did he put blame on someone? One party or the other?
There was language within the email that indicated that, yes.
So, in fact, he did place political blame for the shutdown. The reason I say this is statements like these are very concerning. As you know, there's a law that passed Congress years ago. It was actually by a New Mexico U.S. Senator, Senator Hatch. It's called the Hatch Act. And this could be seen as a violation of the Hatch Act. Ms. Schultz, in your opening statement from your prior confirmation hearing, you wrote, quote, "It is incumbent upon the board to approach matters brought before it by conducting a thorough analysis of the facts and adjudicating matters in an impartial manner within the bounds of its jurisdiction and the law. However, the president has made it clear that agencies like the STB should not be independent, but wholly beholden to the president's direction and demands. How can the STB effectively function while subjected to political interference and coercion?" Is it possible? How can the STB effectively function while subjected to political interference and coercion?
I'm sorry, Senator, I couldn't hear the last portion. While,
How can the STB function effectively if they are subjected to political interference and coercion?
coercion, sorry, sir.
I have an accent, I apologize.
I couldn't hear the last part, I'm sorry. Senator, I appreciate the concern that you've raised. I would also go back to, I believe, what you opened with, which is
What you just witnessed was quiet chaos cloaked in formality. A Senate hearing that appeared routine on the surface slowly unraveled into something far more revealing. A story of avoidance, political gamesmanship, and the slow erosion of public accountability. The nominee sat composed, polished, even professional. But when the questions came, real questions, direct ones, he backed away, not with defiance, but with deflection. "I'm not a constitutional lawyer," he said. "I'll leave that to the courts. I'm not sure which position I've been nominated for." And just like that, the curtain fell. The room filled with uncertainty, and yet the truth became louder than words. Because what sat beneath those vague answers was a disturbing possibility that this very nomination may have been built on the unlawful removal of a sitting board member, Vice Chair Alvin Brown. This isn't just a clerical error, it's a constitutional powder keg. If Brown wins his lawsuit and is reinstated, we'll have 2 Senate-confirmed people claiming the same seat. That's not a hypothetical, that's a governance crisis in the making. And yet, when asked if he would step aside if that moment came, the nominee gave no assurance, no commitment, only more legal fog. This is how systems protect themselves. Not through blatant lies, but through carefully measured silences. And it didn't end there. The hearing turned again, this time to another official who was asked about a politically charged email. An email sent by a federal agency chair blaming one political party for a looming government shutdown. That's not just inappropriate, it flirts with a violation of federal law. But instead of a clear defense or a principled stand, we got more hedging, more polite vagueness, more bureaucratic mist. So the question is no longer just about these nominees. It's about the institutions they seek to serve. Agencies that are supposed to remain independent, fair, and above politics are slowly bending to the pressures of power. And if we're being honest, the real scandal isn't the silence in that room. It's that most of us wouldn't even know this happened if it hadn't been recorded. This was the kind of moment that would have disappeared behind closed doors. But the camera caught it. The hesitation, the carefully worded answers, the fear of clarity. It exposed something deeper than one nomination. It revealed a system that's quietly surrendering its guardrails one appointment at a time. There's something chilling about watching power retreat into technicalities, watching the people tasked with upholding the law dodge it in public view. This wasn't drama. This wasn't noise. This was what unraveling looks like in real time, not with shouting or scandal, but with a polite refusal to answer, with a subtle shrug, with an empty promise to ask legal counsel. That is how oversight fades. That is how independence dies, not with chaos, but with consent. If we don't speak up now, we allow this silence to spread. We normalize this decay. We pretend the system is still working when it's quietly collapsing under the weight of its own evasions. So if you care about truth, if you believe independence still matters, then don't look away. Share this video, subscribe for more moments that the powerful would rather you never saw. Stay loud, stay awake, because no one, not a nominee, not a chairperson, not a president, is above the Constitution. And as long as cameras are rolling, we'll be here to hold the line.